All right, today we are on location, if you will. We are up in Monument, Colorado, just north of Colorado Springs. It's a little tiny town. It sometimes gets wrapped in with Colorado Springs, but it really is a separate town. I think there's enough distance between it to call it separate. And it's an area we haven't highlighted before. So that's what we're gonna talk about today. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about the pros and cons of Monument, Colorado. All right, so before we jump into Monument, Colorado today, let me, as always, say, if you guys are interested in the Colorado Springs area, the Pikes Peak area, definitely take the time, subscribe to our channel, hit the little bell so you get all the notifications. Our channel is all about the area, where to eat, work, live, play, whatever it might be. If you're thinking about coming this way, we want to make sure you get all the information, make sure you're educated and have all the knowledge you need before you decide to make a move to our awesome area. And along those lines, if you do decide to make a move here, or again, if you just have questions, we are licensed brokers. That's what we do day in and day out, is we help people find the right spot for them and their families to live. So if that would be helpful, definitely please take the time, call, text, email, reach out to us. We just want to make sure you're taken care of, get all the answers you need to help you make the best decision possible for you and your families. All right, so like I said, we are up in Monument today. It's a little windy out, so I apologize if the sound isn't the best right now. But Monument, Colorado, like I said, it's a separate town just north of Colorado Springs. It's kind of starting to get connected a little bit, if you will, from that far north side of Colorado Springs, North Gate up to Monument. It's really about one exit on the interstate now is the only separation there is. But it's a cool little town, at least I think so. But I know people like to hear pros and cons. So today, we're going to give you 3 reasons that Monument sucks. And then I'm going to give you 4 reasons that I think Monument's pretty awesome. Just because I'm an eternal optimist, I got to give you a little bit more pros than cons. So number 1, I'm going to turn you guys around here. Hopefully this works okay. Because number 1, by far, in my opinion, worst thing about Monument is, if you can see that behind me, but those are train tracks. There's a huge set of train tracks that run through Monument. Depending on where you're at, sometimes they can be right behind your house. Sometimes they are not very close to your house at all. We actually have some clients that purchased up in the Monument area, and they're pretty close to the train tracks. They said it really doesn't bother them that much. There are trains that go by. It is an active rail line, but it is, in my opinion, it's a pretty big downfall of Monument. It's on the west side of the town is where the train tracks are. There's a big housing division that's across the road from it, and then kind of the old historical downtown area is just east of the train tracks. So train tracks, most people really don't like those in their town. Monument has a set, and they're fairly active. All right, let's see, number 2. The number 2 thing that I guess probably is a fairly big negative for the Monument area is house prices. Like a lot of places in Colorado, housing is expensive. Monument, like I said, it's a separate town from Colorado Springs. It feels a little bit more mountainous. You're up real close to the Palmer Divide. It kind of runs right into the Black Forest area. And just to the west of Monument, I mean, you're right in the foothills. So it's a primo location. A lot of the lots are acreage lots, especially on the west side of I-25, where Monument proper is, the historical downtown. A lot of those areas are going to be, like acre to 5-acre lots. You could definitely find some homes in some subdivisions too. But Monument, you're paying north of 500. You're probably paying north of 600,000, I would say, to be in Monument, depending on what you find. And then, of course, if you want a home on a little bit of acreage, kind of right up against National Forest, you're going to be looking at 7 figures. So Monument home prices, they are expensive, but hey, like I always say, you got to pay to play if you want to be in the really nice area. All right, and then the number 3 reason why Monument kind of sucks is there's really not a lot of, I don't think there's any healthcare in Monument proper. Now, certainly in Colorado Springs, 15, 20 minutes away, there's all kinds of healthcare providers, major hospitals, but close to Monument, I think there might be an urgent care, maybe in Monument, but that's it, and I'm not even sure if there is an urgent care anymore. Down the road, it's 3 exits down. So you go Baptist, Northgate, and then Interquest headed south back towards Colorado Springs. They are building a big new Centura health facility. So that's probably going to be about, depending on, again, where you're at in Monument, you're talking 10, 15 minutes down the road to a major hospital. But as of right now, there's really no healthcare just right here in Monument. At least there's certainly not a major hospital or a lot of medical facilities. So those are the 3 things that aren't really the best about Monument. But let's get into the positive things. So we're going to go to a different area because nobody likes to look at train tracks. So we're going to go check out a couple other spots, and I'm going to tell you the 4 really cool things about Monument. All right, so now, like I said, we're going to talk about the good stuff. So number one reason that Monument is a pretty awesome place is right behind me. Sorry about the sun. Like I said, it's always sunny in Colorado. There's nothing I can do about it. Behind me is Monument Lake. So Monument Lake it's a pretty good sized lake by Colorado standards, I guess. If you're from the Midwest, you will not be impressed. But for our area, it's a cool little lake. As you can see, it's pretty frozen over right now. So there's a lot of tracks out there. People actually go out there and ice fish, yank sleds around, all that fun stuff. In the summertime, awesome place to kayak. A ton of people come down here and kayak, but it's right on the other side of those ugly train tracks I mentioned, but it's just on the west side of town, so you can easily walk from downtown. There's a ton of public parking, not only right by the lake, but then also just up at the top of the hill. There's a big new public lot, so there's plenty of parking. Kayak, fish in the summertime, go do some ice fishing, just kind of play around on the ice in the wintertime. But again, there's a ton of stuff that people do here on the Monument Lake, both in the summertime and in the wintertime, and it's just awesome scenery. You kind of see back there behind me, you're looking right at the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, just, you know, forest of pine trees and Rocky Mountains. It doesn't get a whole lot better than that. One thing, take a look at the link up above. There's a company called Dragonfly Paddle Yoga, and the lady's awesome, but it's an interview with her. Check it out. But she does, you actually do yoga on a paddleboard in Monument Lake in the summertime, so that's pretty cool if you ever get a chance to do it. So that's Monument Lake, and now we're going to go check out the number two awesome reason the monument's pretty awesome. All right, so behind me you can see there's a map of the historical downtown Monument area. So we're kind of right on the edge of the map, kind of back over this direction over here, sorry. Kind of on the west side still, but there's a couple things over here that I just think are just really great places. So behind me, that building right there, that is called La Fiesta Mexicana. It's an awesome Mexican restaurant, so if you're in there, you definitely got to come check that out. And then I'm going to turn around here real quick because something else across the street just happens to be, like I said, a great location. There's a cool coffee shop over here. It's called, I think it's actually called The Coffee Cup. It is called The Coffee Cup. But for breakfast, cup of coffee, just kind of hang out and relax. It's a great low-key place, nice and cozy. So definitely a cool place to come hang out, grab some breakfast in the Monument area. Like I said, then for lunch, La Fiesta Mexicana is right across the street from it. So there's a lot of stuff over here on the west side of Monument. Again, Monument's really small, so it's not like it's a big difference between east and west. But those two restaurants, the coffee shop and the Mexican restaurant, man, I really, really like it both. And for me personally, that's number two on the things that makes Monument pretty awesome. So we're gonna go check out number three next. All right, the number three reason Monument is a pretty sweet place. I don't know if you can see that sign right back there. It says New Santa Fe Trail. So Santa Fe Trail is a hiking, biking path that runs all the way from southern Colorado Springs north through Monument, through Larkspur, Palmer Lake, or I should say through Palmer Lake up towards Larkspur. So it's a really cool trail, and most of it is hard-packed dirt, gravel. A little bit of it's paved here and there, especially in downtown Colorado Springs, a lot of it's paved. But once you get out into this area, a lot of it's just, like I said, just hard-packed, but it's a super fun trail to come run on. It actually goes through the Air Force Academy, leaving Colorado Springs, headed north up here towards Monument. So it's just a great trail to jump on. Like I said, you can go a ton of different places north and south on it. Depends on how far you want to ride or how far you want to run, I guess. But the Santa Fe Trail, there's, I think, 3 different parking areas and trailheads here in Monument. There's one on the north side of Monument where Highway 105 goes up towards Palmer Lake. There's one right where we are at, which is kind of in the middle of the historic downtown. And then there's yet another one on the south side of the historic area of downtown. And actually, now I think about it, there's actually a 4th one just south of Monument along the frontage road that parallels I-25. So the Santa Fe Trail, it's a super cool trail, real popular here along the Front Range. So if you like to get out, hike, bike, run, all that good stuff like most people do that live in Colorado, it's definitely something to check out. And it's a big plug for Monument. I mean, it's just a lot of, the trail runs all the way through town, a ton of places to park. So definitely check out the Santa Fe Trail. And the last one that I want to talk about, number 4, we're just going to talk about that right now. It's really that Monument is an up and coming area. I really think that Monument is kind of the next big thing to happen in our local area. Like I said, it's got a cool historic downtown area. A lot of the buildings are starting to be revitalized and remodeled. There's a big area that's been revitalized into an event center. There's a lot of other cool little coffee shops popping up. There was a wine tasting area for a while that has since transitioned to something else. But it's a great area just outside of Colorado Springs. So you're still getting all the traffic from a big metro area of Colorado Springs. You get a lot of through traffic because it's right off of I-25. It has 2 exits off of I-25 to Monument. So I really feel that Monument is the next thing that's going to pop. I mean, the town basically backs up to National Forest on the west side. We already talked about the lake. We talked about some great places to eat. The trail goes right through here. So that's a big pro for me, is I think Monument is such an up and coming area. Colorado Springs overall is definitely up and coming. I think it's going to continue to grow a lot, but Monument just has so much room for growth, both on the residential and on the commercial side of things. So I think we're going to see a lot of development. I think we're going to see the historic downtown area of Monument continue to be revitalized. And I think before you know it, maybe another 5, maybe 10 years at the max, it's going to be one of those cool little, on the edge of mountain towns that everybody just wants to be in. So I think Monument has got a lot of pros. Like I said, we did mention 3 negatives to recap real quick: the train tracks, the fact that home prices are already pretty darn expensive. And the third one I mentioned was the lack of medical facilities. I do have to correct myself a little bit, and I only say this because I just drove by it. There's actually a Flying Horse Medical Center here in Monument on the north side of the historic downtown area. It's a decent sized medical facility, so there are some some doctors in there, but again, no major hospital. So we're going to say that that's the negatives, no major hospital in the area. And then those 4 pros that I mentioned, man, Monument Lake is awesome. Summertime, wintertime, a really cool location, backs right up to the foothill of the Rockies, which is awesome. We talked about the Santa Fe Trail going right through town. Talked about some good places to eat. The Coffee Cup Cafe, Fiesta Mexicana. I like both of those 2 places. And then, like I said, it's an up and coming area. So anyway, Monument's got a lot of good stuff going for it. So if you want more information about the area, definitely feel free to reach out, call, text, email, whatever is best. If you guys are headed to the area and need help finding a housing situation, always reach out to us. And again, if it's good information, but if it's valuable for you, take the time, subscribe to our channel, hit the little bell so you get all the notifications. Until next time, everybody take care.